Hey, what's up everybody, it is Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome to another edition of Track Walk and MX Simulator. And today I'm going to do a brand new release track just released today, for me at least today, called I think it's just Jager Compound by Cody Darr, who is a good friend of mine. And supposedly he'd been working on this track for quite some time and a few others because he released this track and the two tracks that come with the main national track on it, with 3 other tracks to make it a 6-track release. And even though only 2 of the tracks are 3 of the tracks of those 6 are on this track, the other 3 are still available for download. And I'll link the thread to all 6 of those tracks, which includes this Jager Compound as well. But like I said, Dar's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to review these tracks when he was done with them. I probably won't do all 3 of the tracks that he released, or all 6 if you will, but I did want to at least review one of them, and this one was the funnest of the 3 released that I've played so far. And it's also kind of just fun that it's named Jager Compound because Cody Darr is pretty much known for the fact that he takes Jaeger shots / Jaeger bombs. And when I stayed in the Mandalay Bay with him for Las Vegas Supercross in 2014, that was the first thing we did on night 1 was take a Jaeger bomb together. So that was pretty fun. And he's a really cool dude. He lives in Pennsylvania. Everybody kind of teases him for being kind of Amish because he's got this kind of really more or less down to earth type feel to him, and I don't know, he's a pretty cool dude. And normally he releases tracks one by one, but he's been working on so many tracks simultaneously, he decided to release them all together. He always comes in TeamSpeak when I'm hanging out in TeamSpeak with a couple of other friends or something like that, and he'll just drop us a link to a track in our TeamSpeak chat and leave. He won't stay to talk about it or anything. He'll just come in and drop it in, and it's always a beta for these tracks. And whenever he comes back on, he'll be like, "Hey, did you try it out? Feedback, please," or something like that. And we're like, "Well, we would race it or play it if you actually stayed here and told us to." But we're like, "Oh, new track. Well, he's not here anymore. I guess we're not going to talk about it or anything." So, but he is a really cool dude, and this is, I believe, if you count all 6 of these tracks as individual tracks, this is the 10th release that he's ever put out in Sim. He initially released a few tracks last year. One of them was High Side SX. Then he released Redneck Creek or something like that. I think he also made a track for the FamMX Fall Cup last year. Or not the Fall Cup, but it was the Fall Local Series last year. So he definitely has been working on making tracks and getting better at making tracks, and this track definitely has a lot of cool features on it. It's a pretty short track, the national track at least is. As you can see, I already did a 122. I've ran a 116 on this track before, but it does have some cool options. I haven't tried to triple this yet. Let's see if I can land that. Barely. And so far I think maybe it's a little one-lined, but it's still definitely pretty fun. And so I'm going to spin, I don't know, 5 or so laps on this, 5 or so on the other Supercross track, and then 5 laps on the third Supercross, or the second Supercross track, but the third track, so I can include all the tracks. These off cambers are killing me. The traction's good. It's not overly grippy. It's not necessarily too slick, but I just can't seem to get down and get groovy with this traction right now. I was okay earlier, but I have the number 52 on my back, but you'll probably notice that the side plates on my bike say 83, like I just tried to show off right there. Finally got our new bikes pretty much done. They're basically the same 450, but we're going to have a 250F, 252 stroke, and 125 bike that all look pretty much identical to this, except for the 250 2-stroke and 125 2-stroke are the old Yamaha 2-stroke model, the Chad Reed 2-stroke era model. So I think it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a throwback. And we'll be releasing these bikes with the gear that we'll be running as a public set once we release our team pack as a whole. That's probably going to happen after we do a team video, so I still, like, I can't necessarily guarantee this, but I would wait about 2 weeks before you start complaining that we haven't released this stuff yet. I know a lot of people want to run the stuff that we have in game. Like I said, we'll have a public bike, we'll have the public gear. You'll be able to run this stuff without your name and number on it necessarily, but just the stuff in general, so that people can have the biking gear, because we get asked a lot if they can run it. And so yeah, basically all we're waiting on is my buddy Travis to finish up the gear that he's been working on for us, and then we'll be done and we can get it sorted out. We'll do a team video which will be posted on the channel probably right about the time of New Year's, would be my guess. And then yeah, when that happens, we'll post all the stuff. Everybody can download our skins, and there will be public stuff in there for you to run, and it'll be all fun and dandy. But we'll explain more about that in a video that will be coming out this week on Christmas Day, and that shall be fun. So the national track, pretty fun. I think racing wise it'd be a little bit too tight. It rides well, but it is pretty one-lined. I guess it's not so one-lined that it's unraceable, but I don't know. It's a good track. I think you could have races on it, but it is a little tight and a little kind of sketchy. So this is 5 laps on the national track. I'm gonna go to the other Supercross track now. Hey, at 119. Show off one cool feature of the track down here first, though, before I go to that next Supercross track. Right here in the middle, he's got a big Jager bottle tower. This is Jägermeister. It's next to the Red Bull tower and everything. Yeah, Jager bombs, Red Bull Jager. Good stuff. Here is, don't know what they're listed as in order, but I think this is SX1. So it's like Jager Compound -SX1. When you download this track, it'll come with a folder, or 3 folders, and each folder has a link to those tracks. Not like a link, but if you drag the folder, into your personal folder, then you can like run the track separate. Like, I'm not gonna go out of game to come back in and play this track because I'm already on the Jager Compound. But if you were to go to your track menu, you could load the Supercross track up as like a separate deal. See, like, this would probably be the finish line jump, I assume, on the Supercross track. But I'm not gonna get recorded lap times because the timing gates are on the national track, and you can't have multiple timing gate track layouts or whatever in Sim. So you have to create separate files in which the timing gates register for the tracks. And so that's what I mean by that. It's whoops that are kind of small, to be honest. He always doesn't go all out with the whoops. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I've played both these tracks a little bit, and they're pretty fun so far, in my opinion. I like the incorporation of the uphill downhill sections on this Supercross track. Definitely makes it less of a Supercross track because of that. There's not even, like, this isn't a real Supercross triple. That's way too big. But oh, too far. No, we're good. But the scaling on this track's pretty fun. He asked me to play Highside SX 2015 or whatever the track is called, that also came with his huge 6-track release, and compare them. And I was going to decide which one to play because I told him I'd do one of them. And I thought that the Highside SX track was just a little too tight. The jumps were a little too small. I'm getting more and more used to a little bigger scale on this 450 right now. With Supercross coming up, I think but the guys at Race Factory have decided they're going to run like a 1/1.2 scale. So it's bigger. It's not huge, but it's definitely bigger than this. So that should be cool, but like I said, just trying to get used to the bigger scale as Supercross season comes up. I don't want to throw myself completely off kilter by running all this smaller scale stuff and then not be ready for Supercross, which we just released today. Man, I keep OJing this. I keep thinking that it goes a little bit more to the right than it does. But today we released our Supercross promo video on the channel, which so far has gotten pretty good feedback. January 7th, the gate's going to drop should be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what that is GMT, so I would look it up in comparison to the United States, 9 Eastern on January 7th. And we'll be streaming the whole thing from about 5 p.m. Pacific till about 9 p.m. Pacific. So about 4 hours straight of non-stop coverage of the opening round of the 2016 Moto Option Supercross Championship presented by Racetech. And we are thrilled about it. Jeremy and I have been coordinating on this, getting it all ready to go. We're working on a lot of new videos that will get you revved up for the season once we start our live stream. And we're definitely excited about the season to get underway. I'm excited to be racing again, so should be pretty fun. Oh, show. I don't know if I did 5 laps on this track yet, but we're at 11 minutes in, so I'm going to scoot over to the next track now. Don't want to go down, it'll just waste time. So the next track, which I don't know if it's SX1 or SX2 on the list, but it's one of those two, is all the way over here by all the big rigs. And this one I was having a lot of fun on playing earlier. Like I said, the scaling is a little small. It's not too small at all. It definitely works. But for me, just trying to stay comfortable with the RF scaling instead of get used to other scales. Man, get on this track to show it off and immediately turn into goon mode after I said, oh, I've been playing this track did like 15 laps on it earlier. But all these tracks are definitely, they have a lot of fun value to them, and they all have, their own timing gates and start gates and everything in a different folder and stuff like that. So if you want to jump on and play this with your friends, would recommend doing so, because it's a fun track, bro. Feel like the on-offs are maybe not oriented correctly. They kind of feel backwards to me, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I've only ridden them one direction, so I wouldn't really know per se how true that is. Oh, I'm tired. Just finished my last final last night, 8 to 10 p.m. Done for the semester. I have intersession classes starting on the 4th though, so that's gonna be fun. Almost done with college. One full semester left and I'll be done. So this track by Cody Darr, Jager Compound, lots of fun, lots of Jager. And if you ever see Cody Darr IRL, it's not that hard to miss. If you ever saw him on Facebook or something like that, if you see a picture of him, he's a pretty unique character. But definitely talk about Jaeger bombs, because he's all about it. He's had that nickname for as long as I've played this game with him. He was on Team Barry as their new rider just when I got the game at the very end of 2011, and so he was on Barry for a little bit and then left Barry right when I got on Barry. Not because I joined Barry, but because he went to Racetech with Chris Riesenberg, Zach Dupuy, Mike Owen, all those guys. So, but he's a really cool dude, and we've hung out in person now, and I would recommend playing his tracks. Yada yada yada. I keep fucking crashing. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and comment on our videos with any comments that you have. We'll get back to the responses as soon as we can. Kind of swamped with finals and all that stuff recently, so I haven't been responding to as many comments, but we'll get around to them, I promise. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Lots of fun stuff going on, especially with Supercross season coming up. It's about to get really heated on Start Your Systems, and you do not want to miss 1 second of this action. So go ahead, download the track in the description below. This has been Jager Compound by Cody Darr and MX Simulator. We'll see you guys later.